Very good evening, everyone. So let's begin with our presentation session. Those who want to give presentation, please raise your hands. We will go in accordance with the raised hands. First, we have Nidhi. You can start your presentation.
Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Nidhi from Cloud Computing Group, and today in the presentation, I will be talking about elastic beanstalk environment. So, let's start. So, let's start with what is AWS. So, basically, AWS is an Amazon web service, which is a cloud provider that provides a variety of services such as compute power, database storage, content delivery, and much more. So either you can go for a cloud provider or you can have your own servers where you have your own data. You have to maintain on your own and pay for what you will be using. But on AWS, you need not to pay for everything. Such as you have 10 terabytes of data, so you will be buying database or the storage services in the same. You have to pay a lot in the servers when you will having your own servers. But in AWS, you have to pay for what you use. So therefore, we prefer AWS instead of having our own services. So as we can see on photo also, there are many services provided by AWS. Some of them are Route 53, Elastic Load Balancing, and much more. So in this PPT, we will be discussing about what is Elastic Beanstalk. So let's say we don't have any service such as Elastic Beanstalk. So there were many problems before this. So let's start discussing them. First one is lots of setup. Let's say you bought your own house, a new house. So you need to do your plumbing, electrical system, install your kitchen, everything you need to do on your own. So before Elastic Beanstalk, lots of setup was required. Second one is scaling problem. Let's say you have a party of 10 people and suddenly 50 people have shown on your party. So it's very difficult to manage that. How will scale up the food and everything within seconds? So it's very difficult. Before Elastic Beanstalk, scaling was also a problem. Third one is it works on my machine. So let's say you have bought a toy from a shop and there it was working perfectly. When you brought it at home, it was not working. Similarly, working on my machine was the problem. Like if I am doing my application on another machine, it was not working there. So it was also a problem before Elastic Beanstalk. Next one is hard to update. So everyone has updated their computer once in their lifetime. So let's say you have to update thousands of computers every single day. So it's gonna be very difficult. Last one is hard to monitor. So you have your own big factory. So without security cameras or without manager, it's very difficult to keep an eye on everything. So similarly, before Elastic Beanstalk, these were the problems faced by the developers or who is deploying their application. So these were the problems we were facing before Elastic Beanstalk. Then we found a service called Elastic Beanstalk provided by AWS. So what is Elastic Beanstalk? It is a service provided by AWS through which we can deploy and scale web applications. Let's just explain this with an example. You can have your own store where you need to have your build a store, hiring a staff, or everything you have to do on your own. And instead of that, you can have like on Amazon we have our own shop. So you need not to hire a staff in there in managed infrastructure, anything. You need not to do that. You just have to buy or sell your products there on Amazon. Similarly, with the help of Elastic Beanstalk, you need not to manage your infrastructure at all. Everything is provided by AWS. Environment, infrastructure, or the customization you need to do, everything is provided by AWS. You just need to deploy and scale your web application. As simple as that. So these are some benefits of Elastic Beanstalk. First one is it's highly scalable. So as I already told you, let's say you have a party of 10 people and suddenly 50 people showed in your party. It was very difficult to manage. But with Elastic Beanstalk, scalability is not an issue. You can have 10 applications in a second, and for example, you want to deploy 1,000 applications in a second, that's not a problem because it's in highly scalable. service. Next is fast and simple to begin. You need not to remember thousands of code lines of code to start your application. It's very simple to begin with just few clicks. Next one is offers quick deployment. When you're deploying your application on the web browser or on the internet, it's very easy to deploy it. Next is highly flexible. If you're running on your machine or you're running that application on another's machine, it's very flexible and will run perfectly as it was running on your machine. Next is simplifies operation. Because of the service such as Elastic Beanstalk, application deploying an application is an easy thing. So if operations involved in that are also very less. Last one is cost efficient. That means you have to pay for what you use. If you're using the environment for your one application, you have to pay for one environment only. But if you're using for 1,000 applications, 1,000 environment, you have to pay for that only. It is simple, pay for what you use. Next one is how does Elastic Beanstalk work? So through this chart, I will explain you how Elastic Beanstalk or the service of AWS work. First one is create application. So you have to need, for example, you're deploying an application such as WhatsApp. You're building an app similar to WhatsApp. So you need to have the code for that or the software through which WhatsApp will be running. So first of all, you will create an application. Next one is upload version. Then you will configure what type of language do you want to prefer in that, what type of environment do you want, what type of configurations do you want. So you will upload that version and finally you will launch the environment and then you will start monitoring it. In case there is some issues in your monitoring, you will reload your version and deploy it again. So similarly, in this way, the cycle goes on and it's very simple. If any problem comes in monitoring, you can just update it and then deploy it once again. You need not to start with creating your application from the very basic first step. You need not to do that. You can just have a loop in that. So we will do a demonstration to deploy an application. So just write AWS Management Console on your browser and this type of screen will open up. So you just need to write Elastic Beanstalk will appear. And by clicking on this app, on this link, you will land on this web page. So this is the page that you will see. First is we need to create an application. So a box that is in orange, I'm click on that, through which I can create my web application. So there are two type of environment provided by AWS. First one is web service environment and the second one is worker environment. In simple terms, web server environment is basically front end of a website. The website, the page that you see. And worker environment is basically back end of an website. The database and everything that is in backend and the client need not to know what is going on the backend. So it's completely your wish on which environment you want to deploy your application, completely dependent on you. So I'm going with web server environment. Application name, what I want, I'm just writing XYZ as my application name. Application environment name, completely your choice. When you will write XYZ, it will show XYZ. ENV stands for environment. If you're going to write ABC, it will show ABC environment. So domain, let me just write domain name. So I'm writing XYZ ABC. Domain is basically where you will deploy your application. I will check if it's available or not. So yes, it's available. If it's showing green, that means available. If it's showing red, that means it's not available. You need to change your domain. And how will you change your domain? Clicking on your here it is written AP Southeast. You can choose your location. So with the location, you can check availability if your domain is available or not. Environment description, what you want to write in this description. So say I am writing application deployment, completely your wish, what you want to write in description. Next one is platform. There are also two options. First one is managed platform. Second one is custom platform. Managed platform is basically everything is done by AWS. This is managed platform. And the second one is custom platform where you need to choose your own web application, your own environment, your own infrastructure. So completely your choice whether you want to go with managed or you want to go with custom. So choosing the platform, which type of language you want to do your application in. Let's say I'm choosing Node.js, completely your choice, which language you're familiar with. After clicking on platform, this is the branch and this is the version recommended to me. Next one is application code. Same application, upload your code. Let's say you have your own application previously. So you can have the code of the previous application or you can upload the new code, completely your choice. Preset, because I'm using a free tier for explanation, so I will go for single instance. If you are doing the paid version, you can choose any of the versions. So I'm just clicking on next. So when it's loading, I'm showing you something here. So these are the steps through which you can configure an environment. I have done my configuration environment. Now I will do service environment. Third one is what type of networking I want. Fourth is what type of instance I want. And fifth type is if I want any updates in my application or if I want to do any monitoring. And last step is review. Through these 6 steps, you can deploy your application very easily. So here next step comes is IAM, service access. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. It's a service through which we provide more security to your web application. It will see what type of access do I need to provide to the user or not, so that only authentic users can access your websites only. So you can go for the new service or you can choose the existing one, completely your choice. So here are the key pair. Key pair is used for logging into your application. Instance profile, what type of instance you want, completely your choice. You can just fill up there. Now we're going on next step, which is these are optional. Third one, fourth and fifth, these are optional. First and second was mandatory. So you can have your own VPC. I will be explaining what is VPC, instance type, and these are the optional services that you will be using or might not use while deploying a web application. So let's back to our PPT. So through demonstration, I have shown you what type of, through which you can deploy a web application with the 6 simple steps. First and second is compulsory that I have shown you. The rest of 4 are your choice. Next is Elastic Beanstalk versus EC2. So these both are AWS services, which are very similar to each other, but there is some difference in that. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, and here it is Elastic Beanstalk. So basically EC2, on EC2, you can deploy your web application. On Elastic Beanstalk also you can deploy your application. So what's the difference in both of them? EC2, in EC2, you have your full control. Which type of server you want, which type of operating system you want. You want to go with Linux, Ubuntu, or Windows, completely your choice. Which type of networking settings you want. That means you can customize your application on your own choice if you are going for EC2. But if you're choosing Elastic Beanstalk, everything is provided automatically to you. Whether it is load balancing, auto scaling, or monitoring, everything is provided by AWS to you on their own. So these are some security features provided in Elastic Beanstalk through which you can secure your profile more efficiently. First one is AWS shared responsibility model. So here are 2 things written in red as well, off and in. Security of the cloud. It's the responsibility of AWS. Which type of, like for example, I'm sending a packet to the another account. So first of all, AWS will see what type of packet is entering in your web application, whether it is secure or not. If it is secure, it is allowed. If it's not, it's not allowed. So security of the cloud is done by AWS, and security in the cloud is done by me, the customer. That is which type of data I'm putting in, to whom I'm providing the access or not. So through which AWS shared responsibility model, we can secure our web application more. Second is identity and access management, IAM, through which you can manage your accesses, who is going to access your web application, whether that is authentic user or not. Second is VPC. Third is VPC support. VPC stands for Virtual Private Network or connection here. So VPC is basically network within network. We have a whole, it's like your house is a network and your room, which is within the house, it's your VPC, which is more secure because you have 2 doors now. So you can deploy your web application on VPC or normally on cloud as well, your choice. Last one is logging and monitoring. Through logging and monitoring, like for example, we have Amazon CloudWatch. Using Amazon CloudWatch, we can monitor our AWS services so that we can see in the next time what type of changes were made earlier. But there are some limitations using Elastic Beanstalk as well. First one is limited customization. As I already told you, automated environment is provided by Beanstalk. So if you want to do your own customization, it will be either costly or it will be difficult. Next one is complexity with large microservices architectures. With large softwares, there are so many microservices involved, and managing all those microservices will be complex process. Next one is potential cost overruns. Elastic Beanstalk is a free service if you are using in a particular domain. But with Elastic Beanstalk, you need to store your data, which you will store in S3 bucket or RDS instance. But these services which are attached to Elastic Beanstalk are not free. So you have to pay after using these services. So I already told you this, because of these limitations, we have some alternatives of Elastic Beanstalk as well. First one is Heroku. It's also a cloud platform provided by these languages, Java, Node.js, Scala, Python. So it's a cloud platform where you can deploy a web application similar to AWS. Next is AWS ECS. It's also a service provided by AWS, which is a container service where you can deploy your application. And third one is Google App Engine. You can here also build your application and deploy on Google's infrastructure. Actually, choosing an Elastic Beanstalk is completely your choice if you don't want any customization. But if you want customization, you can go for these alternatives. So conclusion, Elastic Beanstalk is basically a simple service where we can deploy and manage our applications very easily and very efficiently without taking headache of the infrastructure, monitoring and everything, because everything is provided by AWS on its own, because it's a managed service. You can just create on the application that you want to deploy and need not to worry about other things. So because it's an automated service, scaling and monitoring is provided by its own. So I'm done with the presentation and I'm open for further questions and discussions. Thank you. Ma'am, I'm done.
Okay. So your presentation is quite well. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I'm able to hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying that your presentation was quite well, and you are discussing about the problems in the previous technique, and then starting it with a new technique is really a good approach. So I really like it. Rest everything was perfect. Keep the same pace in the future project. Okay, I will tell your scores on the mail. Okay. Next we have Palak.
Thank you.
Welcome. Next we have Palak. You can start your presentation. Are you able to present?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can start.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Palak Tandon from Java Programming Group, and my task is to read CSV historical data of stock market. So this is the table of content. First, we'll see the introduction, then task description, demonstration, code implementation, then finally code description and conclusion. So introduction. So CSV stands for comma separated value. It is a very simple format which stores the data entries in tabular format using comma as delimiter. So it is mostly used by business and scientific operation. So to read a file in CSV format, we can import the necessary classes and open the CSV file using buffered reader so that we can read it line by line and perform various operations according to our needs. So task description. So our task is to read a given CSV file in Java using libraries such as java.io and util. Then we'll read the data, process it, we'll perform calculation according to our needs. Then after parsing the CSV file, we'll store the CSV file data in a memory-based data structure. I have used array list for this, which I'll be explaining further in the presentation. And we have done this using exception handling. So this is the path of the file of the CSV stock market. Then a code implementation. So this is the code. First, I've imported various classes of IO and util package. Then I have declared a class stock data CSV. Then I've made a function named parse CSV which takes input as file path and it returns a list of data entry object. Then I've declared a list named data. I started a try block here and then I've initialized buffer reader and which has taken file path as input. Then I've initialized line variable. Then I've started a while loop. Here this loop will iterate till we reach the end of the file. Now we'll extract each file and we'll extract every value from file using split function by making use of delimiter comma. Then I have extracted values from each line and have stored in appropriate data type. Then I've made a data entry object and I've added these variables or these values to it, and then each and every object is added to a list called data. Then there is a catch block to catch any exception if it occurs. At the end, we get a final list which contains objects of our entries such as date, open price, high price, low, close, and volume. Then after that, we see a main function. This is the file path of the stock data of Bank of Baroda. I've stored it in a CSV file path variable. Then I have declared a list of data entry objects. The name is parse data and it is making use of the function parse CSV which we have used earlier. Then there is total volume and average open price. I have initialized it to 0. Then I've started a for loop to parse the data so that I can accumulate the volume, total volume and average open price in it. Then I've again started a for loop to print the data in specified format and to accumulate the total volume and average open price. Now at the end, I have divided the average open price accumulated above by the size of the list named data so that we can get an average open price. Then after that, I have printed them. Then there is a class named data entry. I have declared these instance variables such as date, open, high, low, close, and volume with appropriate data type. Then I have used a constructor, parameterized constructor to initialize these instance variable with the help of this keyword. Then I have made several getter methods to get various instance variables such as get date to get date, get open to get open price, get high to get high price, accordingly low, and get close and get volume to get volume, close, and low price. So now let's run this file to see whether we get the specified output or not. We can see the whole CSV file is printed and at the end we have got total volume and average open price. So now let's return to the presentation. We have seen the code implementation. So code description, we can say the code reads the CSV file containing stock market data, stores it in a list of data entry objects. So there is a class named stock data CSV, which has a parse CSV method. So in this method, we have used buffered reader. It reads the data line by line. Each line is split into various values using delimiter as comma. Then the values are extracted and are stored in objects for each and every line. And then each object is added to a list. And finally, a list is returned of data entry object. Then we have data entry class, which has private fields such as date, open price, high price, low price, close, and volume. This class basically defines the getter method to access these fields. Then in conclusion, we can say we have successfully completed the task by leveraging the functionality of java.io and java.util package. We have made use of buffer reader to read the line one by one, to extract the values from each line, to extract values and store them in an object, then finally storing each object into a list and returning a list. So in a nutshell, we can say that with the flexibility and ease of use provided by Java, handling of CSV file containing stock market data becomes more accessible and efficient. We have successfully completed the task and have got the required output. These are the references which I have used for making the presentation. And thank you. If any questions are there, please ask.
Your presentation was quite good. One thing I would like to address, you should show the data set as well. in the beginning of your presentation, so that we can have a clear idea that and explain the data set little bit, so that the audience who is listening to you can have clear idea that what actually the data set consists of. Like I think your data set consists of open,
Bank of
closed.
Baroda. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Open price,
So,
closed price,
yeah,
volume.
yeah. So this should.
Should I show it now? Should I show
No,
it?
it's okay. But in the future projects, you should remember this. And also, you can add a short story in the beginning before starting your presentation, so that you can relate your project with the real scenario, that how you are solving the real world application problems. Okay. Rest,
Okay.
everything was.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next, we have Sridevi. You can start your presentation.
Is my screen visible now?
Yes, your screen is visible.
So, good evening, everyone. I'm Sridevi Satyamurthy. I'm a data engineer intern here at Hackveda. So, my task was to give an overview about the project, which is basically a stock market investment prediction app using a machine learning solution. So, let's now get into the presentation. So, what is the objective or major outcome of this project? There are three main objectives for this products. The first one is to maximize return. Um, and second one is data-driven approach, and last one is the informed decision making. In order to understand it more, let us consider a situation where I am a stock market investor, and I have to make an investment such that I get more profit. So obviously, every such investor will be will basically wait for more profit. So in order to get more profit, I have to analyze the previous set of data so that I can know the pattern or trend in which the stock market works, so that I can easily invest money in that specific for that specific field or subject. So this is the thing. So for us as a human being to analyze such a large number of data, and to predict the value will be is very difficult. So when this is done by an AI or a machine learning model, this will give us more precise and accurate output, so that we can very well maximize our profit, as well as the decision which is made by these types of models will be more precise and accurate. So this is the reason why we are going to make this product. So the main objective is to maximize the returns. That is, we'll be getting more profit from making investment that is prescribed by the ML model. And then this will be a data-driven approach. That is, we'll be training our ML model, with a historical set of data that is collected from n number of resources, so that our model gets to know about what the stock market investing is all about, and get insights on it on its own, and gives us a more precise and accurate prediction, which comes under informed decision making. That is, the machine learning models will be informed. That is, it will be given a labeled data set, and it will gain insight from it in its own way, and it will help us to make more great more great it will suggest us more great options, and if we follow that, we can maximize our returns. So this is the main objective of our project. So next comes the steps in which this project works. So there are four main steps which is followed. The first one is data collection. Next comes feature engineering, and then algorithm selection, and finally model training and evaluation. So the first one is data collection. That is, we have to feed the ML model with an historical set of data which is clean and pre-processed. So before that, before all these steps, we have to collect the data. So where do we get all these data? So all these things comes under data collection, and then comes feature engineering, where we'll be cleaning and pre-processing the data before it is feed it into the model. That is all about feature engineering. And then algorithm selection. We have a list and n number of algorithms which can be applied for this type of to build these types of models. So we'll be selecting which one will suit best for our type of data set, and which will give us more, precise and accurate predictions. And finally, model training and evaluation. With the algorithm being chosen, we can train our model with the algorithm and the data set. And then finally, we'll be evaluating our model in order to, check the accuracy rate of our model. So the first step is data collection. So now, we'll be seeing about each of the steps in detail. The first one is data collection. So we'll be collecting the data one by one. We have n number of resources, wherein from where we can get the data. So for our topic is about a stock market investment. Henceforth, we'll be getting data related to stock markets, which has the details about the previous historical records of how the stock market has worked, and its trends and patterns in the last few years. So the main columns are attributes and features which our data should contain are the stock prices. That is the name of each stock and the price of each stock for the last 2 to 3 years. That is what I have planned for taking forward for this project. And then comes the trading volumes. That is how much number of stock can I buy so that my returns will be maximized. And then the economic indicators. That is if we have any special events or anything coming up, the economic value of that specific product will go up or come down. So that should be taken into account. And any other relevant financial metric should be considered when we collect the data. So we'll be collecting data from stock market investment data sets, which will be available either in Kaggle, which is a very good website for collecting data, which is a very good which has a very good collection of data sets. So we can either go to Kaggle or we can browse in internet. So I have preferred it. I would prefer more to go to Kaggle. So this is all about the data collection. So after collecting the data, we cannot just like that give the data. So the data which we get in real time are raw data. So as the name suggests, raw data is it is not processed and it is not clean. It is not fit for a model to be used or fed in. So before feeding the data into the model, we'll be processing the data. So for pre-processing the data, the technique is known as feature engineering. That is, each and every features in our data will be taken into account and will be engineered in a way such that it will help our model to analyze or understand about the situation more quickly and in a more elaborate manner. So the first technique which I have used is moving averages. That is, so consider a situation where I am an employer, where I employ 10 employees, and I want to get the details of my employees, and I give them a Google form. Okay, so they have to fill in the Google form and send it to me back. So once they fill in the Google form, their details will be printed in my sheet, in my Google sheet. The response will be filled in my Google sheet. So suppose, say one of my employer does not enter his or her salary. So that will be a null value in my data set, which will surely affect my model. So I have to pre-process this null value. Again, say if I ask for the height of my employer and he or she, enters 1,000 feet, which is, abnormal, and we surely know that is not humane. So these are known as outliers, which are, extreme values. So even these outliers will be a will affect our analysis. So all these null values and outliers should be removed or replaced with some relevant values. So all those things will be done in under feature engineering. So here we'll be moving averages wherein these null values or outliers will be removed, and it will be replaced with average value of that specific column. Say the average, say the 10 employers whom I have employed. Um, in the 10, 9 is given me their heights and 1 hasn't given me his or her height. So I can take the average of their heights and replace the null value or the outlier value which that specific employer has wrongly inputted with the average. So that is known as moving averages. And then next comes the technical indicators. So the technical indicators is a main part wherein in the data we can one specific column or one specific attribute will be more contributing more towards our prediction. So we'll be giving more importance to that specific we'll be giving more technical importance to that specific column. So and we'll be cleaning that column in a more advanced way. And then comes volatility measures, which is whether wherein we'll be checking whether that specific attribute is relevant to the column name. That is, say the price. Say under the price column we have given under the price column we have given the price name, which will be an irrelevant data. So all these data must be changed and engineered. In order to get a more accurate precision. Finally comes the sentiment analysis score based on news and social media. So when it comes to stock market, news and social media plays a major role where we have to take all these into account. And then all these into account so that our model will understand all these things also, and will gives us and it will give us a more precise and accurate prediction. So say consider a situation where consider a situation where something goes wrong and a boycott or anything happens against one specific product. So the value of that product or stock market value of that product will come down significantly, and it will affect our stock market investment, right? So all these things should be taken into account, and all these stuffs can be taken from the news and the social media. So sentiment analysis is the process of analyzing the sentiment or getting inputs or understanding the emotion from the given set of data or given set of information. So even that has to be done in the feature engineering process. Hope the feature engineering techniques are clear. So next comes the algorithm selection step, wherein I'll be selecting which in the algorithm in which my model has to be trained. So we'll be creating a ML model here. So under ML models, we have two main types of algorithms, which is supervised learning algorithm, and next one is the unsupervised learning algorithm. So the first one is supervised learning algorithm, wherein my model will be fed with a labeled data set. That is, the row and column will be labeled, and say consider an example where I feed my model with a set of cat and dog pictures and say this is a cat and this is a dog, so that these are labeled. So I'll be feeding my model with a picture and a label attached to it, so that my model will learn with the data set which I give. So it comes under supervised learning. And the unsupervised learning is the other way around, wherein I will not give any type of labeled data. My model itself will learn in the process. So once it will not be given a labeled data, so it will be, you know, classifying given set of data with a given attributes. So the all those things comes under unsupervised learning. So I have chosen supervised learning algorithm here because for the stock market investment model, it will be more suitable if we choose a supervised learning algorithm, because we have all labeled data sets here. So it will be more insightful if we use one of a good supervised learning algorithms. So the three main supervised learning algorithms are regression type, linear regression or logistic regression, and then is the decision tree, and then comes the random forest. These are the top three supervised learning algorithms which I have chosen, or which I have chosen for making this project. So first one is regression, wherein the linear relationship between each column and the prediction will be observed. That is how one specific column affects my prediction will be observed, and according to that, my prediction will be made. And the second algorithm is the decision tree algorithm, wherein a tree model, that is a tree model where it has a root, and from the root we have branches. And each branch will represent a column, and all these columns will significantly lead to an prediction. So we'll be designing a tree model in decision tree algorithm. So the next one is random forest algorithm, wherein a collection of decision trees will be made, and an average of it will be taken as a final output. So from all the three algorithms, it is very very clear that random forest will be more efficient for our model, because it takes n number of it applies the algorithm n number of times, and it takes the average of the average as the final outcome. So I have chosen random forest as our final algorithm. And then comes the model training. That is, our model has to be trained with the data set and the algorithm which we have chosen. So for training the data set, we have to first, for training the model, we have to first divide our data set into two parts, the testing part and the training part. So the training part will basically train our model. That is, say I have divided my data set. Here I have divided my data set into 80 and 20, wherein 80% of my data set will be for training and 20% will be for testing. So for in the process of training my data set, I'll be giving that whole data set, whole 80% of my data set to my model, and will suggest this type of algorithm, so that my model will learn using this training data set. And once the learning is over, I'll be testing it with the remaining 20% of data set which I have. So under model training, the first one is the technique which we have chosen. So the random forest is the supervised learning algorithm which we have chosen. So our model will be trained with historical data in a way that n number of decision trees or tree structures will be made and predictions will be made, and then average of all these will be taken and will be given as an output. And next, the test data set. So 20% of my data is taken as the test data set, as I have already told you all. So once the model is trained, I'll be testing my model whether it can make precise and accurate predictions with the test data set which I have. And next comes the hyperparameter tuning. So once I test my model, I'll get to know how much accurate my prediction rate is. So if I'm not very much okay with the results of my data set, I can tune my parameters in such a way that it will increase my prediction rate. So this is all about model training. So next, so after training the model, we'll be evaluating it based on some metrics. So the first metric which I have chosen is a confusion matrix, which basically takes a true or false value for each prediction. So here the true and false value represents a case wherein the prediction has to be true, but the prediction has become false. In that case, my final value will be false. So yeah, it is pretty obvious that if my prediction is correct, my value will be true. If my prediction is false, my value, if my prediction is not correct, my value will be false. So according to the performance of the model, my confusion matrix will be given as an output, so that I can check the metrics. I can use this as a metrics in order to check my model. And next comes the cross validation, wherein I'll be taking a totally different type of data set, and will be changing it into and I'll be pre-processing it in the order in which my model has trained, and I'll be giving that new data set and checking the and I'll be validating my data set. This is validating my model. So this is known as a cross validation. And next comes the learning curves. So learning curves are basically simple plotting methods from which the trends of the previous years can be analyzed, and how my model can be improved, or the accuracy and reliability can be improved, will be checked by using these learning curves. So this is all about the evaluation techniques which I've chosen in order to evaluate my model. So next comes the benefits of my solution. So this ML model will surely help me to increase my returns. That is, this will be very helpful for stock market investors in such a way that once they given the details of the product which they want to invest, the model will tell them whether their decision is correct or not, or the order demand, that is like how much of the product can they buy, will be given as an output. So once they follow it, they get more returns, that is their profit will be maximized. So that is the first benefit. And next comes the improved investment strategies. That is our model can give a suggestion to the investors, and give them strategies in such a way that the investment type, or investment style or design will be improved very greatly. And next comes the efficient resource allocation. Since this is a data driven model, our model will be an efficient resource location. So this is all about the benefits of the solution which I have created. So finally, to conclude with, by using machine learning algorithms, we can make a much more precise and accurate predictions. So yeah, we as a human, it will be more difficult for us to analyze a large set of data and make a decision out of it. But for ML models, it will be more easy for them. Once we train them with the data, it will be more easy for them and for us to get more great insights from them. So that is the reason we go for ML models, ML algorithms nowadays. So yeah, I hope this will be a very good software tool for stock market investors. That is all about the conclusion. So yeah, I'm done with the presentation. If you all have any questions, you all can ask me, or I've mentioned my email ID. You all can mail it. You can mail your doubts.
Sridevi, do you have any idea that what are the techniques involved in the pre-processing of data?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What are the techniques involved in pre-processing the data?
So in pre-processing the data, first we have to check for the null values. So if we get any null values, we have to check whether there are any null values in our data set. And if we find any, we have to either remove it or replace it with any relevant values. And next we have to check for the outliers. So as I already mentioned in my presentation, outliers are extreme values which will greatly impact my analysis. So I have to either remove it or again replace it with with the average of the other relevant values. So these two are the main things which we do under pre-processing, ma'am.
Yes, so yes, I am asking that. So what are the techniques? If I found any null value, so what will be the technique I will be using to replace that value?
So can I give a demo now, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Or you want me to say it?
As you wish. If you can explain it, you can explain it also.
Actually, I have to, launch my software in order to say, in order to, give the demo.
No, I just
Um,
need the technique name. That will be enough for it.
Okay. Uh, Actually, the technique doesn't have any name, ma'am. It basically says removal of null values, wherein this model can be created easily using Python language. So in Python language, to check whether we have a null value or not, first we have to give the variable name in which our dataset is stored. So say the variable name is data. I have to give data dot null of null of dot sum of, so that it will add of all the null values, that is how many null cells are there. It will count and it will give me the count as the number as my output. So once I get the count, I will check whether my count is less or more. If it is less, I can easily delete that specific row, so that it won't affect my analysis. So in order to delete that, I have to give data dot NA of. So NA of will remove the null values.
Okay, actually, I was asking about there are two techniques when we have null values. So we basically use simple imputer. Okay, that we have syntax for it. And if we have any string objects, then we use label encoder or one hot encoder. You can read more about it, because one of your slide I saw that for data processing you wrote feature engineering. Can you please show that slide? Actually, feature engineering is not, we can say it's come under pre-processing, but you cannot say it like that. Yeah, that feature engineering techniques for data pre-processing, because feature, what is the purpose of feature engineering?
Yes, ma'am. We'll be, changing the features according to our wish, according to the way in which it has to be fed into the model.
Yeah, basically, we are picking up the most relevant features when we are predicting anything, and just removing those which are not much relevant to our prediction. So this will be our next step, because when the data set that we are using for feature engineering, that will be the most clean data. So this cannot be like that you are saying feature engineering techniques for data pre-processing, because feature engineering is the next step. First you are collecting the data, then you are pre-processing. You
Yes,
can
ma'am.
further. Okay, then after that you are just splitting your target and features, and then you are applying the feature engineering. So you can explore more about it. This is
No,
from my
ma'am.
side.
I have not, splitted the data and then applied feature engineering. First, I have collected the data and I have combined the pre-processing step and the feature engineering step in this slide, ma'am. So first I'll be collecting the data and then I'll be pre-processing it, and then feature engineering will be done, and then only algorithm selection will be
Yes.
done, and finally the model training will be done, wherein I'll be splitting my data, ma'am.
Now you are right, because at that time you were saying that feature engineering and combining both. First we will pre-process, then feature engineering. Okay.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
You can read more about it. Rest of presentation was.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. I will provide your scores on your email.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Next we have Binayak. You can start your presentation.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, screen is visible. You can start.
So, good evening, everyone. I am Binayak Das, and today's topic for my presentation is real-time stock market data web application. And my task is getting started and full walkthrough of Adalo. So, throughout the presentation, we will be going through introduction. We will see the features of Adalo. Then we will go through the walkthrough of Adalo. Then we will go through the website demonstration, the website which I have created. Then we will see some challenges faced during the creation of the website, and then the conclusion, references, and then last Q&A. So introduction. So Adalo is basically a no-code platform which is simple to use tool that makes creating web and mobile application easy through intuitive drag and drop functionality. It provides with intuitive tools and extensive functionality. Adalo empowers individuals and and businesses to turn their app ideas into reality in an efficiently and effectively manner. We can use the features of Adalo to publish our application on Android, iOS, or the web application according to our needs. A web application can be published immediately, and the changes which we make to the website go live instantaneously. So here are some of the features of the Adalo. It provides pre-built components such as navigation bar, list, forms, taskbar, etc. It is a no-code platform, which means it does not require any code to create a website. It has built-in data collection, uh, uh, which have all the databases in the website only. We don't have to include any external database to create our web application. It provides cross-platform support. As I mentioned, we can publish our application in various platforms such as Android or iOS or web application. It provides with drag and drop interface, which makes it easier to create the application because there is no coding required to create the application. It also provides us with API integration, which means we can integrate our application with various APIs to make our application more efficient. Let us go through the walkthrough of Adalo. So as you can see, this is the homepage of Adalo. On the left hand side, on the left hand side, we have all the functionalities required to create the application. For example, in this presentation, I have created the stock market app through this features. First of all, we have branding. In this, we can change the color of background or font color or the color of our components throughout our web application. Then we have the screen sections where we can create various screens for our application. In this, we have created, for example, the welcome screen. So this is how the welcome screen looks like, and it has various components. For example, text. We have this text which represents spectrogram. Then we have image. Then we have button. Then we have another button. We can also add various components. For example, you can see we have text. We have various buttons. We can add simple list as well. We can add app bar. We can also add image or forms. We can also add navigation bars. We can add top navigation, or we can add side navigation, bottom or app bar. We can also add various lists as I described. For example, simple list or card list, for example, image list, avatar list, and many more. Custom list. We can add buttons as well. These are few button options which we can add to our application. And on the simple section, we can add text or image or various shapes such as ellipse, rectangle, etc. On the form and field section, we can add various forms, or we can add text input for password or to take input from users. We can add date picker which have like a calendar interface. We can add drop down menu features as well. We can add a file picker where we can choose file from our personal computer or laptop, as well as we can have image picker which will pick image files, and we can also add location input as well. Apart from these, we can also add external components through the marketplace. As you can see, these are few options which we can use in our web application according to our needs. We just have to click. If we go to the free section, we just have to click the install and it will get installed on the component section. For example, I have installed few, for example, bar chart or line chart, pie chart. So these are the various components which we can use to create the web application and to enhance the application. If we go to the database section, you can see these are the databases which I have created for my web application. First of all, we have users. So in this, all the users which are logged into the application are shown. We have email of that user, we have password, username, full name, and the image of the user. On the portfolio section, we have various portfolios which we add in the application, which we will see in the few minutes. And then we have the stock details database, which have these attributes: stock name, image, about stock, high, low, open at, previous, close, volumes, average price. So these are the components which describe the stock details. These are the few records which I have added to my web application. For example, we have added the Wipro, TCS, Infosys, HDFC Bank. So these are few companies and their stocks and their stock information is added to the database. And these are the stocks, as I mentioned. These just contain the name and stock image for the database, which we will see how we have implemented this database in our application. So if I go through the website demonstration, we just have to click this preview button to demonstrate the website which we have created. Just a second. Yes, so let me just log out and show from the beginning. So this is how the welcome page looks like. We have the, as I described earlier, we have the text which describes the name of the application. We have image, sign up button, and already have an account button. We have already created an account, so let's go through that. So we just have to enter the email account which we have created for our application, then password. If we log in, we will get redirected to the home page of the web application. So this is how the home page looks like. On the left hand side, we have all the available stocks which we have created for our web application, and all these stocks are mentioned in the database as I have described earlier. As you can see, Wipro, TCS, Infosys, HDFC Bank, and on the right hand side, we can select from various from the available stocks and add it to our portfolio section. So if we want more information about the stocks, we can click this button and we will see the details about that company and its stock performance as well. You can see high, low, open at, previous close, volumes, average price, lower circuit, upper circuit, and on the left hand side we have short description about the history of how the stock really performed for that company. So let's add HDFC Bank to our portfolio. Now, as soon as we click the add, and if we go to the portfolio section, we can see that HDFC Bank is added. And also, if we go to the database section, just a second. So this is the portfolio database. If we click, we can see that HDFC Bank is included in the database. We just added a few seconds ago. And if we want to remove the portfolio, we just have to click the delete button. Now you can see the data will be removed from the database as well. Just a second. So the portfolio now have only two records, the two HDFC data bank which we have added, and the Wipro section which was there is removed completely from the database. So this is how our application looks like. And this is the about section of the database about the application, which describes the relevance of the application. and how this application works. And on the right hand side, we have logout button and the profile section. If you click on the profile section, we will see, we will go to the profile settings where we can update our information. We can update our email ID, password, username, full name, and also image. If you click on the update button, it will get updated, and if you click on the delete button, that user will be deleted from the database, users database. Yeah, so just a second. So this is how our complete web application works. Like it is a simple web application which we have created using Adalo. So some challenges which I have faced during the creation of the application. It has limited customization optimization, which have like limited. We can only use limited features. Uh, we we cannot use more advanced features to create our application. It has limited number of components available. Only the components which I have shown on the left hand side, we can only use those. Apart from that, we can't really use another component, advanced components. So this is one of the disadvantages of Adalo. It provides with basic functionalities. We can't really have a more user interactive application using Adalo. It has performance issues. Sometimes the preview section does not work properly. As I was creating the application, I have faced many difficulties through that option. It is very less user interactive. As I described earlier, it has limited functionalities and components, which makes it difficult to create a more advanced application. We can only create like basic web application to demonstrate the relevance of Adalo. On the conclusion, so it has a user-friendly interface, customizable features and user authentication and security. As you can see, the only the users which we have created in the database, only those users can access the application, and other users won't be able to access the application unless they have created an account on the database. Adalo makes it easier to develop application through its no-code drag and drop interface and pre-built components. Uh, it enables various functionalities without any code at all. As you can see, we haven't used any code at all to create the application. We just have used drag and drop application for creating the website. There are definitely some challenges and limitations of Adalo, but by using key features of Adalo, we can create a basic web application. It only uh, provides us with limited opportunities and limited functionalities, but those functionalities are enough to create a basic level of application through Adalo. So these are the references which I have used for Adalo tutorial. There's YouTube playlist which was provided by Hackweda itself. And for stock details, I have used this website dhan.co to provide all the information about the stock. Yes, and if you have any questions, you can please let me know. And for any queries, you can contact me at my email. Thank you so much.
Binayak, your presentation was quite good, and your demonstration part was also precise and clear. Rest, everything was fine. I will provide you feedback and scores on your email ID. Do you have
Okay,
any question?
No, ma'am.
Next, we have Nandini. You can start your presentation.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, my voice is audible.
Yes, you are audible. You can start.
Just a minute.
Yes, sure.
My screen is visible.
Yes, your screen is visible.
So good evening, ma'am. My name is Nandini Pawar, and digital marketing is my domain. And my today's topic is
Sorry for interruption, Nandini. Please turn on your camera as well. And your voice is a bit low. If it's possible, please see the issue if you are able to increase your volume.
ma'am. My camera is on.
Now your camera. Wait. Wait for 1 minute. Okay, fine. Now it's visible. You can start.
Is it visible now?
Yes, but your voice is quite low. If it's possible, please try to speak louder.
Ma'am, just a minute.
Nandini, are you able to resolve the issue?
Ma'am, just a minute.
Now your voice is quite fine.
Ma'am, actually, my laptop goes into hibernation from just restarting it.
Sorry.
Ma'am,
Nandini?
is it visible now?
Yes, you are audible as well as visible, but your presentation is not yet visible.
My screen is visible.
Yes, now it's visible.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
No problem. You can start.
Okay, ma'am. So my name is Nandini Pawar and digital marketing is my domain. And my today's topic is using Facebook API Explorer to retrieve inside data. So first we have to understand what is API Grapher by using Facebook example. So Facebook API Grapher is a powerful tool for retrieval, and it is also on the side is visible.
Yes, now it's visible.
So Facebook API is a powerful tool for the data retrieval, and it allows digital marketers to assess user data to gain insights for better targeting in this presentation. So we will explore the capabilities of Facebook API Grapher and how it benefits the businesses. So what is Facebook API? So the Facebook API is a data retrieval tool that allows developer to access users' data from Facebook's database, and it's useful for RESTful the interfaces and can retrieve data in various forms such as JSON, XML with Facebook's Graph API digital marketers, Facebook digital marketers.
Sorry,
Uh,
Nandini, but your presentation has stopped.
Just a minute. And there is some issue in my laptop.
Okay, so are you able to resolve now or you will give it tomorrow?
Can I start with my phone?
Yeah, what? Do you want to share your screen? Yes, please, if it's possible.
Mm. But if I continue with my phone, then my face is not visible.
Sorry, actually, I couldn't able to understand you.
And I was saying if I continue with my phone, then my video is not visible.
Actually, your voice is also not clear. Can you please write in chat box?
Mm.
But Nandi video is compulsory. So
Ma'am, can I give my presentation tomorrow?
yeah, sure, you can give it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Now we are not left with any more presenter here, so we are wrapping up our session. Thank you, everyone.